everyone, and welcome to the RGD Information Session. I'm going to get started in just a minute. And before we get started, I wanted to introduce our special guest today. Victor Szeto is here with us today. He is a certified RGD himself and also the chair of the certification committee. Victor, are you able to hear me?
I am. Can you hear me?
Yes, excellent. Thank you for joining us. Do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and maybe about why you became a certified RGD?
Sure. So again, my name is Victor Szeto. I am the creative director at Green Living Enterprises, an agency in downtown Toronto. I got my RGD certification in 2010, I want to say, 2011, maybe. I was a student RGD when I was at New York Sheridan, and Hillary was, on stage in the auditorium espousing all the great things about RGD. So it was kind of always in my, it was kind of the earworm that was always there. And they always had great programming for students. And as soon as I started my first job, it was top of mind. And my first job at Forex Limited was very supportive in just continuing with continuing education and expanding my knowledge of my career and field. So yeah, they helped support me through getting my RGD, and I've been an RGD ever since. I also feel like I don't know, Heidi might know better, but I'm a bit of an anomaly in that I got my RGD and I was kind of like hovering and being involved on a couple of things here and there, but I didn't ramp up my involvement until a couple of years ago. So I signed up to be on the certification committee, and then Hillary encouraged me to get on the board. So this is now my second term running, and my first time with Heidi on the information session. So I don't know what I'm up for, but I'm happy to answer any questions and hopefully be of somewhat entertainment or information.
Well, Victor, I'd say you're already a great guest speaker. Just have the audience to have someone who has gone through this process and can just shed some light on, your experiences and the benefits you have enjoyed and why you became a member. So thank you for sharing that with us. So yeah, so anything you can add as we go along is great. For those of you out there, thank you again for joining me for this information session, for joining Victor and I. Today I'm going to go through the benefits of membership. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on the benefits. I'm going to do an overview, however. There is a lot of information to go through, and I know you're all here to talk about how to become a certified RGD. So I'm going to dive right in, and please feel free to ask any questions as we go along. You can open the control panel. On your control panel, you can see a question tab, and you can ask them in there, and I'll address them as we go along. I'll also be sending a follow-up email with all this information summarized for you, and any specific questions you may have, you can always email me as well. Okay, so let's get started. So everyone can see my screen okay, I'm hoping. I always find sometimes you're doing this, you're like out to the abyss, but it looks like I'm sharing my screen. So I'm gonna get started. So I didn't even introduce myself. My name's Heidi Veri. I am the Director of Membership and the Chief Operating Officer for the association. So I will be the person, your main contact as you go through this process to become a certified RGD. And I'll also be contact when you're a member. I wear a lot of hats. We all do. We're just a staff of 9 people. So we have a lot of things going on, and we all play many different roles in the association. So a little bit about RGD. We're a fairly young association, just started in 1996. And our membership continues to grow, and we continue to spread across Canada more and more every year. So through RGD, Canadian designers exchange ideas, educate and inspire, set professional standards, and build a strong supportive community dedicated to advocating for the value of design. So The exchange of ideas, of course, is very important. It's important in any time, but it's very important right now as we're all stuck at home and we're trying to connect with people and we're trying to keep up our professional development and and just feel that connection to other people. So RGD has always had a very extensive virtual program, our webinar program. So that was before COVID started. We had a very extensive one once a week. We'd offer a free webinar to our members. Non-members would pay a fee of $35 to $45 per webinar. And what we've done since COVID started is we've increased our online virtual programming. And you can see that with a few of the dates coming up. Next week, we have a couple of webinars coming up, a UX design series webinar, an accessibility design series webinar, and then the following week, we have a couple of webinars as well. So one to note there on this schedule is May 27th, we have a freshly certified Creating Effective Case Studies webinar that I encourage all of you to check out. So that is completely free, a member or non-member, because this is a webinar that is helping you to build your case studies for going through the process to becoming a certified RGD. So I encourage you to check that out. I will, in the follow-up email I send out, I'll reference this one coming up. So if you want to register and watch that webinar. So very extensive program. If you're a member, you can attend all of these webinars for free. If you missed any of the webinars, or if you want to even check out the past webinars before you were a member, there's a video archive on the website that all of our members have access to that you can go and watch these different webinars, as well as our other events that we've had in the past or are coming up. So speaking of those, we have a couple of virtual conferences coming up. So again, in the past, we did do some of these things, obviously we're in person, and we hope to bring these back in person at some point, especially our Design Thinkers Conference. Typically it happens in May in Vancouver and October and November in Toronto. But of course, it's going to be all online this year because we're still uncertain as to how things are going to be by November. So Design Thinkers will be happening in November. But just around the corner is our in-house design conference, which is, again, of course, online virtually, and it'll take place June 7th to the 11th. So educating and inspiring. So this is obviously something we're always trying to do is promote our members' work and to really get the word out there, what designers bring to the table, what designers are doing and the amazing work that they're doing. And right now, we're actually have our call for entries for our in-house design awards. That is currently open. And for those of you there that are applying to become a certified RGD right now, if you successfully pass the certification process, you can use your eligible case studies, so any in-house design work that you've done, and they can be entered into the in-house awards for free. So the deadline, I believe, is June the 14th, I believe it is. So if you complete the process by then, you can put your use those case studies. So the work that you put into the case studies for the application and so on that I'm going to talk about in a little bit, those can just be transferred right over to the in-house design awards. So we also have every other year we do our in-house design awards. Then next year we'll go back to our social good design awards. And again, this is an awards program that is profiling the amazing work that designers do to incite social change and social good, incite change within our communities and so on. We also have produced an accessibility handbook. So this is something, again, as an association, we're always looking at ways to provide resources to our members and to really get ahead of things. And way back in 2009, when accessibility was really getting, people are starting to talk about it, we reached out to the government, Ontario government, and applied for a grant to be able to do research with the experts in the field. And we had a professional development program that we did with them and so on. And from that, we were able to produce, again, with experts in the field, an accessibility handbook. One for web and one for print. And then in 2019, we did a further update to that, and we now have our Accessibility 2 handbook, which includes web and print and has updated information. So this is something that's available to anyone, and these are resources for the whole industry, not just our members, of course. Members receive it as a discount for being a member. We also have a handbook that we produced that's also on the screen there, our RGD handbook. And the handbook is it's the only handbook really out there in North America that provides information on becoming a graphic designer, running a graphic design company, freelancing yourself, marketing yourself, freelance work, marketing yourself. It provides sample forms and so on. So this is our third edition of the handbook. It is produced by RGD and something that we're very proud of. Students use it in schools. Professional members will receive this as part of becoming a member. And the accessibility handbook and the RGD handbook are two of the suggested texts for the online test that I'll be talking about as well. I'm just going to double check. Open my question tab there. Okay, so setting professional standards. This is what RGD is all about. It is, showing that when you go through this rigorous process to become a certified RGD, you have this designation after your name. This shows clients and employers that you've gone through this rigorous process. You have a professional association backing you, and you have a code of ethics that you must abide by and best practices that you must abide by because you are a member of this professional association. So it holds weight and it sets you apart. So I go to schools, well, don't go to schools anymore, but I talk to schools virtually and talk to students as they're starting school, the importance of the RGD designation and just having an association supporting you and providing professional development and so on. So of course, a big part of our association is connecting you with, not only people that are looking for your services through our online directory and so on, but connecting you with other like-minded individuals, like other designers. And there's so many different ways to get involved with RGD if you choose to. Some people choose to join and become a member, and they simply just want to pay their dues and have their designation, and that's it, and that is totally fine. And then there's other people that want to get more involved. And as Victor mentioned earlier, when he first started, he wasn't all that involved, and over the years he's found other things he's liked, enjoyed, got involved in, and is now on the certification committee and on the board of directors. And Victor does a plethora of other things, including he reviews portfolios and so many things I know Victor has done. He's leading the certification effective case study webinar I mentioned earlier. So there's so many different ways that you can become involved. So join a committee is one of them, as I mentioned. We have an education committee, membership committee, become a mentor to younger designers. We also have a new mentorship program that is for people like yourself going through this process and to be mentored by someone who has gone through this process and to give you guidance in that. Contribute to your newsletter. You can also propose a presentation for a webinar or even speak at design figures, and of course become a portfolio evaluator. Victor, do you have anything you want to kind of add to with your involvement in things and at all?
I mean, being part of the board has opened up my eyes to see how much activity happens. Like, it actually is a bit insane and mind-boggling how much activity there is at RGD. So to me, it's a test of how involved and activated a lot of the members are, because ultimately, the more you put into it, the more you get out. And yeah, like you mentioned the freshly certified series. I can talk about that a little bit more later if you want, but yeah, and the mentorship for this certification, it's also new. I know the certification has evolved since I was certified, so knowing that there was an appetite and a desire for help and to not feel like you're kind of swimming in nebulous waters, that is there for you. There used to be an RGD certification group, but because we're all kind of remote right now, that is kind of why we're trying to figure out this. Well, not figure, but we're trying to launch this program so that you can do it all remotely. You don't have to physically be anywhere, but you have somebody to ask questions about and feel like you're being supported and not just like doing it on your own.
Absolutely. Yes. So that's our goal, is to give you as many tools as you can to feel comfortable, to move forward, and to make it as painless as possible, but also a way of connecting. And yeah, and just so we're going to talk more about that. So I better move on to the next thing here. So advocating for the value of design. So of course, you know, as a professional association, our code of ethics, we advocate strongly against speculative work. And this is something we will continue to do. And this is something that you can see there up on the screen. We've created this tool that allows you to go through and sort of see if there is a situation where you should not be doing the work. This is more of a tool for younger designers that, you know, are uncertain as to what speculative work is and so on. So this is something, you know, member or not, we are always there to support the industry. And, you know, if you come across something that you feel is spec work and that could be hurting the industry, you can send that to us and we can follow up with that company or individual to try to educate them as to why they shouldn't be asking for spec work, and what are the things that can be done to change the spec work so it's no longer a spec work call, and to, of course, inform them that it is against our code of ethics. So none of our members are able to participate in this. So, you know, is there a way you can change this so it is more fair and you are paying the people for their work? So other ways we're always advocating for the value of design. We've created this Design Thinker of the Year award, which is really showing the amazing work and the connection between the business and the design side of a company, and how design has really impacted the company and impacted their bottom line. So it's awarded to a company that's worked closely with their design team in order to do that. So this is something that was always announced at our Design Thinkers conferences. So it is on hold right now because the conferences are on virtually, but we will continue it once the conferences go back to in person. So let's dive right in. I just wanted to just tell you a little bit, you know, the membership categories that we offer. And today, you know, I know most of you are here to talk about becoming a certified RGD, but if you aren't quite eligible yet, you may still be able to fall into, say, the provisional RGD category, which is for someone who has 8 or less years of work experience. If you're not quite there yet with your portfolio, or if you're not ready, there's also an affiliate membership category for those of you who have more than 8 years of experience and are not quite ready to go through the certification process. And I believe some of you can see online are already affiliate members. So let's get to the nitty gritty. Becoming a registered graphic designer. So of course, all this information will be summarized in the email I send you following this meeting. And then it's also obviously available on the website at rgd.ca/certification. So there is 4 steps to becoming a certified RGD. The first, of course, is your application. The second is the online test. And some of you would be required to write all of this, the full test or portions of it, and I'll get to that. The third is the virtual portfolio presentation, which everyone has to do. And then, of course, everyone receives a presentation of their results. So you'll get to find out how you did on all the parts of the test and all the scores from all of your reviewers. So I'm going to talk more about that now. Okay, so first off, the eligibility. So there's just a regular way of being eligible. So someone who has a traditional, let's say they have a design, graphic design or related, went to post-secondary school for a graphic design or related program. You could have a 2 to 4 year post-secondary degree or diploma combined with 3 to 4 years of experience to make up 7 years. So it has to be 7 year total. So let's say you have 3 years post-secondary and you have 4 years of experience to make 7. Or you have a 2-year program and 5 years of experience, and so on. So anything to make up the 7 years, you would be deemed eligible. Or you could just have 7 full years of working experience and no post-secondary diploma or degree. So 7 full years. So if you did fall under this category, so which means you have at least 7 years, a minimum, you would have to complete all 5 sections of the online test and of course complete the portfolio presentation. Then there's another eligibility category, which is called seniority. So seniority is for somebody who has many years of experience. So in this case, 15 years of relevant experience or a combination of experience and education. So that could mean, you have a 4-year degree, let's say, in graphic design or related field, plus 11 years of experience to make 15. It could be, 15 straight years. It could be up to 7 years post-secondary. So say you have a degree and then a master's, and then plus the years of experience to make up 15. So any combination of that. So if you do fall under seniority, then you would be, I would let you know that, and you would be exempt from 3 out of 5 sections of the online test, which means you would only have to complete the accessibility section and ethics sections of the online test. So you wouldn't have to complete the other 3. And then of course you would also complete your portfolio presentation. So for your application, you're going to download the application. Everything is done virtually, just like Victor had said, digitally, and everything is done. So you can download that application, you fill it out, give us your information. You can see there it's basic stuff, your personal information. Then you're going to tell us, if you have any post-secondary information to give us, and your work experience. And then of course you're going to go through your portfolio case studies. So your portfolio case studies is where you're going to select 6 projects that are your highest level of professional work. And you are going to do some write-ups for them, some case studies. So, oopsie, go back to that. So you can see, I'll hand it over to Victor a little bit. And did you want to talk a little bit about the webinar for the case study preparation, Victor?
Sure. There is a free webinar happening, I think 2 Thursdays from now, May the 27th. Yeah, it's a series called Freshly Certified, featuring members who were recently certified and talking about their journey and how they actually went about getting their certification, including how they put together their portfolio case studies, explaining why they chose the case studies that they did, how they put their visuals together, how they wrote them. We have 4 panelists this time, and it's in the space and category of wayfinding and experiential, which experiential is kind of a fun new buzzword. It kind of encapsulates like signage and graphics and wayfinding, but also like things that live in an experience space. So, it can be digital, it could be physical, but anyways, like I said, this is a series and this is the 4th. Yeah, this will be the 4th, I believe.
Yeah, I think it's the 4th. Yep.
Yeah, so there are actually 3 other ones. The first one was a general kind of all-purpose or pilot one. The second one was specifically about UX and digital design. And the last one we had back in February was about, what was it about?
I'm forgetting as well. I can't be of help. But you know what? I will send out that information in my follow-up email. So if you do want to check that out, any of you, to see sign up for the new one coming up or the past ones. Packaging, yeah. That's
packaging design. So those are also free to view, but already that's 12 different people with different case studies that you can check out and get a sense of how they put their work together. And, Heidi said earlier, the association is meant to rally members and like-minded people, but it's also meant to set the bar and like raise standards. And I think what's great is that you'll look at the work and go, wow, this is amazing. But I think everybody also feels like, you might have a confidence, but it's also just this, is this work good enough? And I think in our Q&As, we do talk about that too, and how, especially now that we're kind of in a more isolated world, it's easy to fall into the trap of imposter syndrome or not feeling good enough. But I think it's helpful to know that we all kind of feel that way on some level, and it's a really good series that helps people who just got certified talk through how they went through it and reassure you that it's okay, you can do it too. And we all go through it, we all have nerves, but it's worth going through. And once you're in, you get opportunities to be part of webinar series like this and put your work out there and cast your net wider and get people to sort of check out what you can do and be inspired and inspire other people.
Thank you, Victor. That's great. Thank you very much for adding that. So the criteria for the 6 portfolio pieces, I put that up on the screen. So of course, the first one is it can't be any of your schoolwork. So this has to be, of course, work that's done in your professional life. You need to show at least one of the pieces has to be done within the last 12 months to show recent work, and 2 of them have to be done within the last 5 years. So this allows for you to show the recent work to the eligibility committee, as well as if you'd like to show older work. Let's say you've been working for 10, 15, 20 years. You want to show some older work that you're very proud of. This allows you to do that, show recent and then also older work. If you've been working for 7 years, then you're most likely going to be showing work within the last 7 years, or 1 to 5 years. So some optional criteria, you can include any up to 2 of your 6 portfolio pieces you present can be pro bono if you wish, and you could include up to 1 self-published piece if you wish. Okay, so that's just the optional criteria. The other criteria is mandatory. So the requirements for the written rationales, you're of course going to tell us your type of work. So is it pro bono, self-published, professional, your project name, your client name, the date the project was completed, and your role in that project. Then you're going to take us through the information, the context, the method, the design process, the solution, and the results of each of the 6 pieces. So you're going to do a rationale for each of the 6 pieces. And then you're going to attach or copy down a URL for the supporting materials to show that the final work that you have submitted, that you have completed and created, pardon me. So there are some sample webinars like we were just talking about, and some samples of rationales people have done. So again, in the follow-up email, I'll send that to you so you can have a look at that as well. So once you've completed your application, then what will happen is you'll send it to certification at rgd.ca, which is me, Heidi. So I get that, and what I do is I go through your application to ensure you have met all the criteria. So let's say you said you graduated from a post-secondary program, but you didn't include your proof of graduation, your diploma, your transcripts. Or let's say, you've said you have 10 years experience, but you forgot to give me your resume, your CV. Or you forgot to include a piece was produced in the last 12 months. I'm going to follow up with you, and I'm going to make sure that all of the criteria has been met. You will never be deemed ineligible because you missed the criteria. So that's my job to tell you that. So don't be worried about that. That's what I'm here for, to help support you in that way. So once we have made sure we have it all in line, everything's all ready to go, what I'll do is I'll tell you I'm sending it off to the Eligibility Review Committee, and they will go and they will take a look at your work. And there's 3 people that are on the 3 people will look at it. There's several people on the committee. I select 3 of them randomly, and they'll take a look at your application. So what they're trying to establish is the work of high enough quality for the candidate to continue? And does the work allow for an effective evaluation by the evaluators in the presentation? So in this case, is the work that you are presenting, is it senior enough to be at this level? Should you be going on to the next level, even starting this process with the work that you're presenting? So make sure you're presenting the work that is showing your highest level of professional work. And in some cases, you know, to the next second point, does the work allow for an effective evaluation by the evaluators? You know, the work may, in some cases, some people have been told to replace a piece because the work it's not a robust enough project to be presenting. So they ask you to replace it with a little bit more, you know, robust, or they need more details or more depth put into the rationales, and you'll be told that. Okay, so once you have been deemed eligible, I'll let you know that, and I'll let you know whether you fall in under seniority, which means you're only writing the 2 sections of the online test, or if you're under regular and you're writing the full test. So the fees are $75 under seniority and $150 under regular. So if you are already an affiliate or provisional member, this is the fees are free and waived for you. Or if you're under a team membership, then your fees are all free. So this is included as a benefit of being a member. Then I'll ask you about scheduling your online test. So you can select a week that works for you, and the same with scheduling the portfolio presentations. I'm going to talk more about that now. So for the online test, they said, I'll ask you what week works for you. And you basically have to select a week that works for you. I send you an email confirmation, and you schedule a date on the week you've selected at any time you wish, whatever works for you. It doesn't have to be 9 to 5, Monday to Friday. People write the test at 10 o'clock at night on a Saturday, or 6 in the morning on a Sunday, or whatever the case may be. It's really your flexibility, so whenever you'd like to write it. So you schedule it with our test platform partner, Medal, and then they provide you with a live remote proctor who is monitoring you while you do the test. The test is completely open book and multiple choice. So if you're falling under the regular category, you're going to be completing all 5 sections on the screen, which means accessibility, ethics, business, design principles, and design research. So you can see the images on the screen on the right-hand side are showing this suggested text. So as I said before, accessibility is, of course, our handbook. Ethics is our code of ethics. And business is the business of graphic design, the RGD handbook I showed you. Then we've got a couple of design principle books and a research book. It's all open book, it's all there, all the questions are there in the materials that we have given you. So if you fall under seniority, you're only going to be writing these 2 sections, accessibility and ethics. Just double check if there's any questions. Just a reminder, if you have any questions, just feel free to open the question tab and shoot them over to me. So we last year, now I'm sure all you guys are feeling the same way. I feel with COVID, time is just, don't have a great sense of time. I think it was last year, Victor, we launched the sample online test. I can't remember. End of 2019? Can't remember. Time is slipping away.
I think it was, yeah, it was
end of 2019?
Because I in the AGM I saw that from last year already, so
yeah,
it would have been
okay.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter. So we launched an online sample test. I think it's been out for about a year and a bit now, and it is exactly that. It's a sample test, and what it allows you to do is it allows you to study for the test. So when you sign up for the online test, you basically sample test, you tell me, your years of experience. So I'd either send you the link for just the seniority sections, which is accessibility and ethics. If you have under the 15 years experience, I'll send you the sample test for all 5 sections. So each section has 3 questions. So it allows you to be studying for the test, and it allows you to experience what the online test is like. So exactly what it would be like. So you can see there just a sample on the right-hand side, the image there of what it's like, and basically it gives you that experience. The only difference with the sample test and the official test is that you have a live proctor that is watching you for the official test to make sure to protect the integrity of the test and to ensure you're not walking away from the screen, you're not opening other screens, and so on, except for the digital notes that we supply to you, and so on. So the online test consists of 15 questions if you're doing all 5 sections. If not, then it's just 6 questions. It's $16.95 to do it for members and $33 for non-members if you would like to experience. And then you get a summary of your results, which means you get to find out how many questions you got right or wrong in all of the sections. So the virtual portfolio presentation. So this is by far the most important part of this whole process. And this is where you are going to be talking about your work and presenting the work that you submitted your 6 portfolio case studies on. So you'll select a date, you let me know, you tell me 3-4 dates that you're available. I reach out to the evaluation committee and I pin down a date and a time that works for you. So all of this is on your schedule. We recognize people have jobs, they're working, and I'm sure a lot of your cases, myself included, remote school. I'm now a teacher as well. So we've got a lot of things going on. And so this is at your leisure whenever you are available and you would like to do it. So you let me know. We pin down that date and then I pin down my reviewers and we will have a little software test. So I'll go through it with you because you'll be doing what I'm doing right now. You will be showing your screen and presenting your work while people are listening and watching you talk about it. So exactly what I'm doing, but you would be me right now. So you will we'll have that software test. I'll go through everything. We'll make sure all your settings are right on your computer and so on. So then for the actual presentation, you'll sign on just like the same way, and you will meet your 3 reviewers. And your 3 reviewers will take you through what's expected of you and so on. And I'll go through that with you. You'll have 30 minutes to talk about your work and to present your 6 pieces. So I'm sure most of you are thinking, how am I supposed to talk about 6 pieces of work in 30 minutes? Like, that's insane. Like, who could ever do that in 30 minutes? So the reason it's only 30 minutes is that you have submitted these case studies, which you have spent a lot of time on. You have written a lot of information about your 6 projects that you're presenting. So when you go into the presentation, the reviewers have been sent that application. They have those case studies ahead of time so they can read over them. So when you get into the presentation, you are only going to be asked to talk about one of those 6 pieces in depth. So you're going to talk more about that piece, and then you're just going to breeze over the other 5. So that's why you only have the 30 minutes, because we recognize people could probably talk for hours about their work, but who has the time to do that? It would just be too much work and too much of an arduous process for you as going through this process, the people volunteering their time to watch it. And that's why we have these 2 components, the one that is part of the written part and the verbal presentation, and you're evaluated on both. But during the presentation, you only have to talk in depth about one and breeze over the other 5. Okay, so that's why there's only 30 minutes. So a little bit, I'm going to dive into the evaluation criteria. So this is all available on the website. This is completely transparent for you to see, for you to know exactly what you're being evaluated on. We're not trying to hide anything. We're not trying to stump you or throw you any curveballs or anything like that. So the evaluation criteria. So your context. Candidates should frame the project by explaining the client's context, their objectives, and preferred outcomes. An ideal presentation demonstrates a clear understanding of the target audiences and identifies any restrictions or special considerations directly related to the final design products. Method. Candidates should identify the steps they take in their design process. An ideal presentation will show how the projects start to take shape through concept development, production planning, and strategies created for unforeseen circumstances. Solution. Candidates should offer solutions to design challenges that are well executed. An ideal presentation will demonstrate a knowledge of design principles that are connected to specific parts of the design challenges. Results. Candidates should show how their design solutions were received by their client and audiences after release. An ideal presentation will show how their solutions engaged or served their audiences as intended. It will also explain how design solutions addressed unexpected challenges. Quantitative or qualitative information should be presented to show success. So that is the full evaluation criteria, and that is available on the website, and I'll be sending that to you. I'll also remind you of it again when we go through the software tests many times. So it's all there for you to see. So when you've finished your presentation, for your 30-minute presentation, the reviewers will come back on screen. They'll ask you any questions if they have any. And then what they'll do is they will then go and fill out an evaluation. And it will include all of the evaluation points that are shown on our website that I'll lead you to. And it's all there, all transparent, all there for you to see. So once you have completed the online test and the portfolio presentation, in whatever order that you wish, some people write it for the test for and do the portfolio, or they could do the portfolio, write the test, whatever order, whatever is best for you. You will get a full evaluation to tell you exactly how you did on all of the sections of the online test and how you did on your portfolio presentation. So if you were to score really high on your portfolio, so if you get a high mark on your portfolio, there's a scoring, the way the reviewers give you marks, then you could be exempt from up to 3 of the sections of the online test. So if you're already under seniority, this doesn't really apply to you because you're not having to do those 3 sections. But if you're not, and you score high on your portfolio, you could be exempt from up to 3 of these sections, the design research, principles, or business section, okay? So this is the detailed assessment I'm referring to. You will receive, I know it's a little bit hard to see, but it can be downloaded off the website. You're going to get marks in each of the different 12 points that are outlined on the website on the full evaluation form, and you get to see the marks from all of your 3 reviewers. And then they give you feedback as well at this point. So they tell you a little bit of feedback from each of them. So you get that, and then you also get the online test results. You'll get to find out how you did in each of the sections and the score that you received from each of the sections. So this is your final result sheet with all feedback and all information that you'll get once you have completed the entire process. So today, as a thank you for being a part of this session and as a motivator, hopefully, for those of you out there that may be on the fence, I am today offering, since you at this session, if you submit me your application by May 21st, which is next Friday, I will waive your fees for the application fee, which is range from $75 to $150. It will be completely free. You won't have to pay anything for the application fee. And I will also give you access to the sample test. And that is for free as well. So that's a $15 to $30 value as well. So further to that, we also have an incentive currently that if you become a certified RGD, so if you complete the entire process successfully by June the 30th, you can receive free dues for the remainder of 2021. So your RGD certification annual dues, you can receive them for free for 2021 and receive a full all access pass to Design Thinkers. So it's a good motivator. If you've been on the fence, this might be the time to take advantage of this incentive that I'm offering today. And I will, again, mention it, of course, in the follow-up email I'm going to send to you. So that is it. Thank you so much. And a big thank you to Victor for being here today and shedding some light on his experiences and all of the amazing stuff that he does within RGD, and we couldn't do it without all the volunteers out there. I see another one of our volunteers online. I won't say who it is, but I know you know who you are. One of amazing a board member and volunteer as well. So thank you to everybody who is out there to help us, and thank you everyone for attending the session. Victor, did you want to give a goodbye?
Oh, thanks, Heidi. I think one of the things that is, I mean, if I could just leave with a parting word, the thing that I hear most often with members and those who just become members, especially through the webinar series, is how it was worth it and the process was worth it, because you're essentially doing a little bit of a portfolio for yourself and a little bit of a historical roundup of your work, but the community that opens up and your access to other designers and information and resources, and just, I mean, for myself, just the opportunities that RGD provides to allow me access and the volunteer experiences that happen through it. It's been really worthwhile, and I hope everybody who is on the fence or is thinking about it gets a lot out of it as well.
Thank you so much, Victor. I'll stay on the line. I haven't gotten any questions this session. If any of you have any questions, it's now 2:47. So maybe I'll stay on the line for a few more minutes, like till 2:50, and just see if any come through. And if they continue to come through, I'll continue to answer them. Otherwise, thank you again for attending the session. And I hope to be welcoming you all as certified RGDs in 2021. And stay safe and get your vaccine, and hopefully I'll meet some of you in person sooner than later. Let's hope, fingers crossed, right? So thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Heidi.
Thanks, Victor.